Basefront True Believers, BlueDragonFive here, and folks, I don't know how else to put this, but we're in the endgame now. Believe me when I say there was no other way but for us to put on an endgame-themed Disney Debates Marvel Edition. The avenging agenda tonight boasts the following. Who's the next Thanos of the MCU? Most valuable Marvel player in Endgame. And then something special, dust to dust. In other words, which fallen Netflix hero should have crossed over with the dusted one? All right, folks. Now's the time if you have a suit, put it on and assemble. Because in our arena, it's main event time. In this corner, grab your Zunes and play the immigrant song for a friend from work. The demigod, Tiki!
That man is playing Tetris 99. You thought we didn't notice, but we did.
And in the opposing corner, sporting a new quantum suit, floats like the Vision and stings like the Wasp. Put your metal arms together for Jacob Wile!
Don't expect me to do anything unsanitary.
Now, unfortunately, some of our allies like Pile My Cake, Jacob Gulliver, and even Sandy Claus, well, I hate to break it to you folks, they didn't survive the snap. We mentioned them because some people move on, but not us.
We do literally have like half of our regular roster. Well, Jacob Gulliver is kind of a special guest star, but you know, half of the people that would have joined us for this thing in particular are not here tonight.
So, gentlemen,
Avenger.
How are we doing?
I'm fine. I'm
Yeah,
fine.
I'm very excited, Dragon.
Of course, why shouldn't we?
I only had a few days to work with this, but I'm going to give it my all.
Mm-hmm. So, of course, why wouldn't we be excited? Let's just kind of welcome Donovan Martin in the comments, who's kind of bustling as the rest of us are with Avengers Endgame coming out, which of course is the main reason we're gathered here on this kind of big momentous Easter day, as it were. Very exciting times, gentlemen. It's not the eve of Endgame, but it's like in less than days away, gentlemen. The world is going to the original Avengers team will be no more. The MCU will be entering officially into Phase 4. It's going to be a new ball game, an Endgame, one could say. It's going to be a biggie, and we're here to celebrate that. So a little refresher as we go into this big momentous occasion. So a little refresher for those joining us, or for those who will join us, and for those who just might want a little refresher on how exactly we're going to do things, because there are some surprises around the corner. So,
not to ruin your public. Technically, Kevin Feige basically just revealed, like today or yesterday, that Phase 3 actually ends with the next Spider-Man, not this.
Information that would have been helpful earlier, but thank you. Okay, so
I'm being dead serious.
Right. Anyway, so we got 3 rounds. Kind of 3 questions, 3 rounds. We're going to reveal our picks. We're going to have the opening statement, and there's going to be a fight to the finish. At the end of 3 rounds, I'm going to offer the Infinity Coin. Now, the Infinity Coin works like so. You got heads and you got tails. If it lands heads, you gain a point. You get tails, you lose a point. A fully optional feature of the Disney Debates, of our Marvel edition of the Disney Debates tonight, folks. So again, bottoms, I'm going to offer it to both of our competitors at the end of 3 rounds, and they don't have to take it, but again, they could. They risk kind of the Thanos snap option, if you will. Again, it's like, which half is going to land? Are you going to be dusted into defeat, or are you going to be victorious and avenging, as it were? So after that, we enter the speed round, and we play, big reveal, like the search for the Infinity Stones tonight, folks. With the grand thing, we're playing the 6 points. Whoever gets the 6 points wins the whole enchilada. That's unless it ties up. So it's 6 points, the whole enchilada for everything here. So get it 6. Kind of fun. Anyway, of course, by my side, my little co-host here, R2D2, because we're in space with Endgame. So why not have a little guy in space here?
Why not?
R2 here. Very excited from the new Star Wars trailer that dropped this month. As you can hear in his voice, when you hear R2, that's the bell, which means I've heard enough, which means I got to deliberate and pick which one of these knuckleheads won the round. So obviously, surprises in store for the speed round that you may turn all
we prefer the term idiot Americans.
right.
Just
So
kidding.
of course, the little fun fact here, of course, depending, if kind of the crowd kind of gets warmed up, they get really kind of dialed into things. If kind of the stands fill up a little bit, we might turn some speed round questions to the crowd, depending. Might kind of turn it to you guys to kind of make the kind of the deciding vote on on who wins the round. So again, folks, pay attention. You might their fates may be in your hands. You may yourself be wearing Donovan. Listen to me. You might be wearing the Infinity Gauntlet right now, man. You could decide their fates at any moment, particularly when we get to the speed round. But still, let's throw some helpful hints along the way, man. You tell us how you're feeling. Maybe it'll influence things. Maybe
I was going to say, like, they could, like, even outside of the speed round, they can still offer their input on the regular fights too.
Exactly. Put in the input on the regular, folks.
How about we both end with 3 points, perfectly balanced, as all things should be.
Could happen. All right, so gentlemen, do you understand these rules as I have explained them there to both of you this fine evening?
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yep.
Go to the randomizer. So we're going to use the randomizer here and figure out who goes
We have
first.
3 different randomizer tabs pulled up. What could that be for?
Oh, you'll find out, folks.
Okay.
All right, so let's figure out who's going first.
Okay. All right.
All right.
In a rare turn of events, Tiki is going first instead of Jacob. I mean, we had debates where Jacob wasn't even there and he went first. I don't know.
Seriously.
That's true. So, folks, we're gonna get things started. We're gonna go to round 1. You guys ready?
Yeah.
Can you handle it?
Yeah.
All right. Round 1. Okay, so of course, Endgame marks the entry into Endgame and Spider-Man Far From Home, but let's just say Endgame for festivity's sake. Endgame marks the transitional phase into Phase 4, which begs the question: which Marvel villain will be the MCU's next Thanos? Of course, Thanos, those are some big shoes and some big gloves to fill, folks. You got to fill in Thanos, kind of the big teased up villain ever since the first Avengers movie. Teased him up for at least 3 movies, for multiple movies at this point, 3 movies, and of course he finally makes his debut or so. But of course, he's in Guardians, so I don't want to split the difference there. Point being, who's going to be the next Thanos level threat, the next big deal of the MCU? Maybe one you tease up for a few movies, or just like the next big guy that's going to be, oh man, this is a reckoning in the works here. And I'll remind you that with the Fox deal, just to remind the folks here what the kind of the conditions of all this were, is that with the Fox deal in play, which has been finally been finalized, it means everything essentially everything is on the table now. So they could have picked pretty much everything from Marvel Comics because now it's on the table and kind of like en route to being accomplished. Everything's for the taking in terms of picking your Marvel character to be adapted into the MCU or just be brought into the MCU in a big way. So, gentlemen,
unless that's Hulk related, of course.
Oh yeah, sure, yeah, unless it's Hulk related. But again, it's like they could appear in other movies, just not a Hulk movie.
Yep.
All right. So, Tiki, who do you got?
I have Norman Osborn's Green Goblin.
Norman Osborn. Okay. I'm sure Defoe's smiling somewhere. Okay. Jacob.
And I have none other than Dr. Victor Von Doom.
Reign of Doom. Okay. Opening statements, Tiki. Enlighten us.
All right. So this was a tricky one. I went between a few of them. I was honestly kind of rangy between Galactus and Green Goblin, both because I feel like both of them would be just awesome to see comic accurate portrayals of. But at the end of the day, I kind of went with Green Goblin because I feel like Green Goblin has a lot more story to offer, and I feel like he could be way more of a long-term villain than Galactus or even Doctor Doom himself. Doctor Doom is certainly the popular choice for this question, but as we get into the debate, I'll get into why just because he's kind of the more popular choice doesn't necessarily mean he's the smarter choice. I feel like there's a few things about Norman Osborn / Green Goblin that are very appealing to me about bringing him into the MCU. One, it raises the stakes of Peter Parker's personal story tenfold. As you guys all know, Peter Parker not having a lot of stakes in the MCU. I mean, outside of being dusted, of course. Like his personal life, Peter Parker's personal life has been relatively stress-free, and so let's kind of shake that up a little bit. But more importantly, like I said, I want to see comic book accuracy when it comes to Green Goblin. It's something that we've wanted to see on screen for a long time, and darn it, we didn't even get it with Spider-Verse. I mean, Spider-Verse, we got a comics accurate version of Green Goblin, but not the comic book accurate version of Green Goblin that we all wanted. I just think that, of course, with Green Goblin, you could have the whole, who knows, maybe Norman Osborn kind of like insidiously buys out Stark Industries after God knows what happens to Tony Stark at the end of Endgame. I'm just kind of floating around some theories here, but we've got Norman Osborn kind of being in the tech side of things, which of course the tech is what kind of launched the MCU to begin with Iron Man. So I feel like he would be a lot more kind of like embedded into the DNA that's been infused into the MCU since the get-go. And like I said, I feel like you have a lot of personal stakes. You have the DNA of the evil tech moguls that have been a part of the DNA of the MCU from day one. And you would have just the chance to pull off a really awesome comics accurate, for a change, story and a really awesome look to a character that people have wanted to see a comics accurate portrayal of forever. So that's my pitch.
All right, Jacob.
Okay. For my pick, I actually took advantage of the recent Fox deal and went with none other than Doctor Doom himself, or Victor Von Doom or Victor Von Doom, depending on the continuity. Victor Von Doom, so he doesn't have has such an obviously evil name. So I went with Doctor Doom because he'd definitely also be an interesting take of a big bad villain. I mean, I don't know if Marvel's planning on doing a Fantastic Four, but if they do, that'd be a great way to introduce Victor Von Doom as a potential villain, while introducing his dynamic and their dynamic into the same universe. In the comics, actually, Doctor Doom has come into contact with many Avengers and has actually proven to be quite a match to pretty much almost everyone he comes across. Talking about your tech, Tiki, he's a fusion of both technological and magical. So since MCU recently introduced that, he'd actually be a good match for pretty much everyone involved. Doctor Doom he's a villain a very interesting villain in the fact that you can actually portray a lot of interesting character traits with him. Like he's a leader of a world, not just of a business or corporation, but a leader of an entire nation. And in some cases, the nation actually loves him. But there's a lot of interesting places you could take this character. Like you could show him to be almost a Machiavellian or even Shakespearean villain. Probably almost on a smaller scale than Thanos, and actually almost opposite than Thanos. Whereas Thanos' goal is to eradicate half of the universe, and basically wipe out everyone out, commit mass genocide. Doctor Doom's goal is actually, in his own in his own logic, more morally superior, because he's actually trying to rule the world and unite the world, albeit under his own rule. He actually, considering the fact that he uses his mask to actually hide his disfigurement and everything, he could actually prove to be. There's actually quite a few ways to also portray him as a tragic villain. Again, and this is a character that, considering the rich comic book history and the way, considering that Marvel Studios likes to shake things up despite remaining true, they can do different things with the character despite remaining true. I think he'd make actually a very good fit to be the next big bad.
Okay. All right, guys. I'm sorry, Jake. Is there anything else?
No, that I made my piece. I'll stand my ground there.
All right. So, guys, getting ready to fight it out, but I want you to take this mantra into play. I want you guys to have this mantra kind of going through your minds. I'm going to say this so you guys can just kind of frame things right for the fight. Okay.
Okay.
Whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes. All right, fight it out. Whatever it takes.
Okay. So
Okay.
my thing with Norman Osborn is I feel like he would be a much more personal antagonist to a lot of different players in the MCU. Of course, he already has the, we'd introduce the Harry Osborn stuff with Peter Parker. But then we'd also have, depending on Tony Stark, depending on his survival in Endgame, he could potentially be a business rival of Tony Stark's. He could potentially be linked up with S.H.I.E.L.D. or linked up with Nick Fury, or there's, of course, we could go the Iron Patriot route with him. I feel like with Norman Osborn, he has a lot of potential to start small, right? To start kind of like in a position where he doesn't have he's basically like a Thunderbolt Ross or a character like that, where you wouldn't even suspect that he's up to anything when he first appears in the MCU. And that's kind of the appeal to me. You mentioned like an opposite of Thanos, and I think that Norman Osborn is definitely an opposite of Thanos. Like he doesn't have any sort of big, like, mystical magic stuff going on with him. Whereas, that's the thing with Doctor Doom. It's like I feel like Doctor Doom. I don't know. There's one could argue yes, we need to see a good version of Doctor Doom on film, and that's definitely the case. My worry with that though is that I feel like with Doctor Doom, there's so much responsibility to get the first interpretation of Doctor Doom right for the Fantastic Four movie, because of course, if we're going to do a Fantastic Four movie, Doctor Doom would probably be the villain, unless we're going to go like the Galactus route or something, which I'd be also okay with. But my whole thing is I feel like there's so much responsibility with getting Doctor Doom right that you don't want to have the burden of laying out the groundwork of 6 or 7 more movies with him. I feel like with Doctor Doom, he's got so much going on that you really want to kind of just concentrate on the one movie. And if he doesn't work out, he doesn't work out. I feel like it's more of a gamble to put Doctor Doom in this role. Whereas with Norman Osborn, I feel like I said, there's so much room to just kind of naturally slide him into the story as almost a bit character, and then kind of just
So you're playing the safe choice here.
Yeah, I mean, one could say I'm playing the safe choice. I said I'm playing the choice that I think would work out more naturally in terms of evolving a big bad.
I mean, think about what happened with Thanos. Sure, he had 3 phases, but he only appeared in bit parts throughout the entire franchise. I mean, I'm not saying that Doctor Doom should have an entire 3 phases to himself. The next big bad could easily just last a single phase or even 2 phases, and I think that would work just fine for Doctor Doom. And Norman Osborn, I mean, it's people already know what to expect with him. I mean, not much you could do that. I mean, and besides, they already said as far as Spider-Man villains go, they're not going to bring someone who's already fought on screen.
Okay, but like I said, my argument there is that there is a lot that you haven't done with him on screen, just on the sheer basis that literally every interpretation, to me, I feel like the Green Goblin is arguably, yes, I'm going to say this, but I think it kind of acts as in favor of my pick. It's a more safe version of Doctor Doom in terms of they haven't quite nailed proper like 1960s classic Norman Osborn Green Goblin yet. Like, they've done good interpretations of Norman Osborn, especially Defoe, but one could say none of the other Green Goblins have been really up to snuff. But I don't necessarily think we know exactly what to expect with a Green Goblin of this scale, because I feel like a Green Goblin of this scale, it'd be kind of like a mix of sort of like the worldwide threat mixed with kind of like a personal vendetta, and that's what I'd kind of look into.
I just honestly don't see Norman Osborn would not know without a doubt would make a good, at least good sequential villain in a couple of Spider-Man movies. But definitely, I don't think he'd be able to care. I don't think he'd have as much chemistry with the rest of the MCU as Doctor Doom would. I mean, he's a world leader like Black Panther. He's with technology like Iron Man. Heck, in the comics, he even once assumed a dark version of Iron Man. He has mystical abilities like Doctor.
Norman Osborn also assumed a version of Iron Man.
And then obviously, his views would come to clash with Captain America, and obviously he'd be the main villain. Obviously, the Fantastic Four would know how to deal with him, which could deals their integration to the MCU. I think basically Norman Osborn is he's basically just a businessman who has spouts with Iron Man, who's basically going to be Kingpin with a goblin-like personality.
I mean, like I said, I feel like with Green Goblin, he could have a Kingpin-like vibe to him. Yes, you're right about that. But the cool thing about Kingpin is that he's a villain that's kind of just like lurking in the shadows. And the cool thing about Goblin is that we can kind of just see like a gradual progression with him. We could see we could see him just appear in like I said, I feel like the key to a good big bad is that you can have the groundwork to lay him out over multiple phases, and that's exactly what I'm pitching with Norman Osborn. Like, I'm pitching with Norman Osborn, have it like literally the first time we see Norman Osborn could be like a like a PSA in the style of a Captain America PSA or something like that. Like, this is Norman Osborn talking to you about pollution. And, just kind of like get that slow integration of him through the world. And, as soon as you hear the word Norman Osborn, he's up to go no good. But, I just feel like that'd be like really compelling. Like, throughout the next phase, what we need to do is we need to establish that Norman Osborn like exists, and we need to introduce Harry Osborn into it. But literally, that could be the whole phase without ever seeing an actual Norman Osborn like in the flesh. All it could be is just like, little sprinklings and Easter eggs. Then the phase after that could be like Norman Osborn could start to be introduced as like more of a bit player, like I said, kind of like more of an evil Thunderbolt Ross. And then finally sort of building up to like maybe at the end of that second phase, him turning into the Green Goblin. And then the third phase, much like phase 3 of the MCU proper, would be the Green Goblin arc. And so, like I said, I feel like there's so much room for a lot of growth while all these characters are kind of like in the background of it.
I can see that definitely does sound like an interesting argument, but it's just like, it's basically there's not much not much of a plan laid out for.
I literally just laid out 3 phases of plans. All right, I don't know what else you want from me.
Like, okay, it's basically bit part here, bit part there. Boom, Green Goblin.
Yeah, Thanos was bit part here. Boom, big villain of Endgame, and now, or big villain of Infinity War. Now Thanos has like established himself as like one of the great comic book villains ever.
But basically, I'm trying to set up a villain that necessarily doesn't need three phases of build up to be released. I think that Doctor Doom does work on a smaller scale as a more immediate threat. One that can be pretty much just as compelling.
Okay, I feel like if we're going that route, though, we have to like kind of like make the argument for what exactly a big bad is, because what you're laying out is almost kind of just like, like just a general antagonist. Whereas to me, the idea of a big bad is, like I said, someone who is kind of like lurking in the background through several films and is kind of like, like Gus Fring is the big bad of Breaking Bad, even though in season 2 he was just kind of like this smiley Obama looking guy who had no real air of menace to him. But by season 4 he was slitting throats with box cutters. That's my vision of Norman Osborn right there.
And there's no reason to say that Doctor Doom couldn't be expanded upon multiple phases. He's a character rich with history, with both the Fantastic Four and various characters. He could even start out like, as multiple comics have tried, like he could actually just like play a lot of heroes to his advantage. He's ruthless. He's the ruler of a country. He's actually a respected world leader. They could actually play a lot of Troy. They could actually play a lot of that over the course of multiple movies until finally releasing them. If you're going to the whole multiple phase route, Doctor Doom is just as easily malleable into that role, and I think a character like him could easily be that. And where's the tragedy in Green Goblin other than the whole dual personality thing and his son?
That is literally the tragedy of Norman Osborn. What more do you want?
I said, there's not, but that's been done well in Spider-Man, how it carried on to his son. But Doctor Doom, I think, it'd actually be like be a more thought-provoking. I think he would be a more thought-provoking villain in general than having that general note. He'd be more than one note, as your version of Norman Osborn would be.
I feel like there's more bad blood with Doctor Doom as a character. Like I said, I feel like with Doctor Doom, we kind of have to build up the goodwill with him again on screen. Whereas with Norman Osborn, I feel like the only real faux pas we've had with Norman Osborn was The Amazing Spider-Man 2. And even then, it was technically Harry Osborn and not Norman Osborn, so it's not really that big of a deal. And people are super nostalgic for Willem Dafoe's version of the Green Goblin, but people also know that that version isn't exactly the most screen accurate version. People always joke about that version kind of having a Power Rangers look to it, and I don't disagree with that. And so I feel like the timing is right. I feel like the timing is right. The fever is there. People are wanting to see the Green Goblin again. I feel like Spider-Man is going to take the reins. Basically, I feel like I feel like the MCU wanted Captain Marvel to be the leader of the MCU going forward, but I really think it's going to be Spider-Man. I think Spider-Man is the fresh face of the icon that we can tell a lot of stories around, and I feel like we're kind of going full circle with him, and he's kind of like the big icon of the MCU again. And so, with that in mind, no one else makes sense but Norman Osborn.
You're talking about people wanting to see a comic accurate version of Norman Osborn. Like people make, I haven't really said. People would, considering the 3 movies that have been made with featuring Doctor Doom, I think people are actually aching for a comic accurate version of Doctor Doom more than they're talking about Norman Osborn. You even said they're nostalgic for the version of the Green Goblin that they got, and people admit, even if he wasn't comic accurate, he was a damn good Green Goblin. The same can't be said for the 3 versions we got before. Under Kevin Feige and Marvel's direction, we could actually have a good Doctor Doom. We already had a good Green Goblin. It's time for Doctor Doom's time to shine.
Okay. All right, so guys, I just want to say right at the top here, I love both of these choices, and I endorse both of these choices. In a perfect world, we'd have both of them, honestly.
Thank you. Funny thing, my other choice actually was going to be Galactus.
That's also, again, that's another.
Yeah, Galactus was also going to be that was also the one that I was heavily considering.
On an unrelated note, I really hope that the Chris McKay Silver Surfer movie is actually going to happen, because he's expressed interest in doing that. Of course, after Vice, and Vice has that little bit with a little Galactus reference in it. So I'm kind of hoping, like, oh, come on, please, Chris McKay Silver Surfer movie, fingers crossed. But anyway, Anyway, so real quick, I want to reel off some stuff from Donovan here. Donovan had some excellent points that I think would have helped you guys during the fight. He actually has a really great point about yours, Tiki. So one, of course, there's the rumor that the age-old rumor since Homecoming that Avengers Tower was actually purposed by Oscorp. Some people have the theory it's Oscorp. Some people think it's the Baxter Building for the Fantastic Four, which are both valid theories. Little fact check on that one. Also, he proposes Pete. What if Peter fights for Tony's honor? And who knows, behind the scenes, Tony is a really good idea, by the way. For all we know, maybe behind the scenes, in between that 2-year gap, between Homecoming and Infinity War, who knows? Tony might put Peter in his will to inherit half of Stark Industries and basically has access to all the technology and stuff he wants. That's a theory Donovan has kind of put forward there. And again, the personal stakes and just kind of putting him in contrast to Norman Osborn is kind of always thrown out there. And the interesting thing about that, by the way, is that in the recent comics, for a while, Spider-Man did have his own company like Parker Industries. So,
right.
So there's some interesting stuff there, but again, none of that was in your argument. So it's just a little fun fact there. So Donovan had some good ideas. I just want to throw it out there. Anyway, okay, so just evaluating. But guys, you both had solid arguments, but you did kind of flail in a few places, and basically that's where I was really having trouble determining who was going to get this. I had to wait to hear some certain specific things, but you both had solid foundations, really like ironclad foundations. Both started strong. Again, we have excellent picks, and I'm sure that helped out quite a great deal. The Tiki, let's see. So again, you're really selling me on all the personal stakes, the growth, the evolution, how he's the complete opposite of Thanos, the General Ross thing, and then you kind of taking Jacob's Kingpin point and using it to your advantage. All of that's great. I think the best point you made was the Gus Fring comparison. That was the thing I really like when you made that. It's like, yeah, that's a perfect example or comparison to what you could do in terms of that, giving an example for the growth and evolution. Drawback, though, I think you were really slow in your build, Tiki. I think you were really extending your build more than you had to. I think you can open yourself up to. Well, basically, I feel you kept saying like we'll build him in just like the little PSAs for. You basically said we're going to introduce Norman Osborn essentially three phases from now. That's kind of I know it wasn't exactly that, but points. I think you had good stuff there. I think those are points are kind of making a little flimsy on things. It's like it's going to take we're going to have him in like a whole nother like phase 4 is he's going to be PSAs in the background, which is not a bad idea, but still that's the entire phase 4 you pitched.
Harry Osborn in phase 4.
Again, that's fair, but that's what I'm saying. So they had a little bit of that going on, which I think hurt you a little bit. So let's see how Jacob fared on the flip side here. So Jacob, Jacob definitely, again, he had his bases covered with the history of Doctor Doom and everything. Of course, making the argument for unexpected territory. I think the biggest point that Jacob made was for, the crossover appeal of Doctor Doom, which is very fair and on the money, basically listing out kind of all the characters he definitely has a parallel to or definitely could come in contrast with, because, Black Panther, Iron Man, Doctor Strange, Cap, in terms of like another dictator coming into the fray, and kind of maybe the stuff about war and things, and the Fantastic Four being the obvious ones. The point is there's a lot of crossover appeal with Doctor Doom. So Tiki made the bad blood argument, but here's the thing: Tiki was making this argument about there being more infamy with Doctor Doom than there was with the Green Goblin. But I feel Jacob accounted for that perfectly, and I feel because of that, and because I think Jacob, the thing I was really waiting for Tiki to say throughout all of this was basically I wanted. Because you got to remember, folks, Norman Osborn, I'm not just trying to put my own personal views in here, but Norman Osborn, essentially, even outside of the Goblin side of it all, he's kind of the Lex Luthor of the MCU. And Tiki did gleam a little bit of this with the Iron Patriot stuff. I just wish he got a little bit more specific about like some more ideas. And I think Jacob kind of called him that a few points in the fight, saying like, you're essentially Tiki was saying evolution. And Tiki's response to that was, we build him up for 3 phases. And again, the fact that Jacob responded to Tiki's bad blood thing with the fact that more people are he made the point that we've had some serviceable goblins that weren't perfect, but they were serviceable versus we haven't gotten Doom right quite yet. So I think that's the point that kind of gives it to Jacob. So in my opinion, round 1, Jacob gets the point.
Fair.
Again, guys, seriously, really good fight overall. Some good stuff.
I was sweating bullets there.
Yeah. All right.
Humble brag, I was actually quite proud of myself for that last line.
Yeah, that was a good ender for sure.
And Donovan was going the route of Green Goblin, but he needs to be developed more. So I don't know if that's a barb against Tiki. I don't know if Don was just kind of in sync with what I was going for there or what, but I might just be misreading that. The point is, I think Donovan was also in favor of Goblin. Again, these both would have been excellent choices, guys. But
I honestly would have liked to see an argument for Galactus. I mean, the main reason I didn't go with him is because basically that would be kind of hard to humanize that kind of character in a multi-film series.
True.
That's the main reason why I didn't go with Galactus.
Unrelated note, how amazing would it be if we just like the big thing they've been hiding in the marketing for Endgame is Galactus, or maybe at the very, very end with the post credit scene.
Okay, I've been hearing like, what if the post credit scene was just like a large, like giant man looming in the distance of some planet, and then we see just a silver streak flash by the screen.
Just the helmet and the streak, man. That's like everything. Because right now, I think I forget if there's like a dicey thing about how long they have to wait before they can do that stuff. Because it's a lot of speculation right now. Point being,
so people said they just want to see what the end credits seem to be like. Deadpool suddenly walking in is like, what the shit? I missed everything.
that would be amazing. But real quick. So again, the theory I've been loving. I didn't come up with this, but this is a theory I love. Aside from just the introduction of Galactus, what I'd love to see would be, I think the ultimate post credit scene and all post credit scenes period would be the Fantastic Four come out of like a wormhole or something that opens up because of all the shenanigans and Endgames. Basically, they finally. They appear in like 60s get up, and the idea is like they were in the 60s in Marvel they went up into space, and going up into space they actually went into another like a time loop or a dimension or something. So the point is they were taken out of the equation. They come back in modern day, but they're from the 60s. But it's like, the most comic accurate Fantastic Four you have. I don't know. So the point is like that's a theory I love, and I'd love to see it happen for like the ultimate post credit scene in my opinion. But that or Galactus would be like, oh my god, be mind blowing. Anyway. Those are our theories on the Endgame post-credit scene.
Although honestly, considering the movie was pretty much completed before the acquisition of Fox is complete, that's probably high. None of these are probably highly unlikely.
To be fair, they could have said the same for Spider-Man: Civil War. They did some reshoots for him, from what I heard, but I don't know. You never know. But you're right though.
I think Deadpool is the most likely, just because Deadpool, you could literally just shoot anything with Deadpool in like a couple hours and be good.
Just gotta remember, Ryan Reynolds has the suit, and he's pretty much on call.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, so anyway, so off the our speculation on Endgame. Let's get to round numero dos. Okay, round number 2. Who's the MVMP, most valuable Marvel player, going to be in the Endgame lineup? So, point is the folks, the non-dusted Avengers, our non-dusted heroes are kind of are kind of our face players from the trailers, the posters, all the ones that we know are, the original 6 plus kind of our odds and ends, like Rhodey, like Rhodey, Rocket, Nebula, and I guess also if you wanted to just to show you what was on the table, also you'd have I believe M'Baku was probably on the table as well, M'Baku and Okoye. So point is like those were kind of like point is everybody not dusted was on the table for this. Right, who is going to impress most? Which of our heroes is going to impress most in Endgame? So like really kind of speculate who's going to dazzle us most? Like who's going to be the big standout, the most impressive arc or scene stealer of Endgame? So folks, let's find out. Pick what?
All right, I picked Rocket Raccoon,
and I went with Captain America, or if he since he dropped the moniker, Steve Rogers.
Right. Okay. Iggy, opening statement.
Okay, my opening statement is going to be short and sweet. We already know exactly what Steve Rogers has to offer as a character. We've seen it through like tons and tons of movies. He's had hours upon hours of screen time to shine with these characters. Rocket Raccoon is a new entity. Rocket Raccoon only came into the Avengers at the end of Infinity War. And you know what? Him arriving at the end of that movie with the battle was one of the biggest applause-worthy moments in that whole film. Rocket Raccoon has the biggest personal stakes out of anyone. Rocket doesn't even know that literally all the Guardians of the Galaxy have been dusted yet. Like, there's going to be a scene where he reunites with Nebula, and Nebula's going to have to tell him that, yeah, Drax is gone, Star-Lord's gone, Mantis is gone. I mean, they're all gone. Like, Rocket is just going to be broken in this movie, but in the best of ways. And I am so excited to see the conclusion of his arc. I feel like his arc is kind of it almost sort of started at the end of Volume 2. You know how much I love the end of Volume 2, you know, where he's got the tears in his eyes, and we have the Cat Stevens song playing, I Know I Have to Go Away. To me, that always implied that Rocket has to face a journey. Dragon, you remember this when we were speculating about Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. To me, the significance of that line, I know I have to go away, implied that Rocket Raccoon had to go on a journey away from the Guardians of the Galaxy to find out what his true meaning was. And here we are in the end game. I am literally getting goosebumps talking about this, where Rocket Raccoon is the only surviving Guardians of the Galaxy. He is the representation for the team at this point, and he knows he has to go away to get those Avengers back. And man, I just can't wait to see it all play out with him. I feel like while Steve Rogers is going to be great, I'm sure he's going to deliver some great harrowing speeches. He'll probably make an epic sacrifice. I just think that Rocket Raccoon is going to be a scene stealer, not just from an action point of view, but also just a line delivery point of view. And I feel like he's going to be the heart of the movie. I feel like he's a triple threat.
Okay, Jacob.
I said it was going to be short and sweet. Okay, but okay. Seriously, never mind. It actually kind of was. But you kind of dismissing Steve Rogers. I think Steve Rogers or Captain America is actually a great example of a great example as well. You could definitely say we've seen him. And he's an example of a literary trope called a flat character, one that doesn't really undergo much change throughout the course of the movies, even though he does undergo more change than most. But it's one that mainly inspires change in others. And I honestly think that Steve Rogers is actually facing it. He's also facing an emotional crisis at the end of Endgame. He watched his best friend, he along with Groot. Remember, Rocket also watched Groot die. He had to watch Bucky die, and he also he's in the same boat as Rocket Raccoon is. He doesn't know that his friends are in some other planet that just got dusted. He doesn't know what happened. This is a man who's basically also, if you keep in mind Steve Rogers' history, he's used to watching people die, but this is actually the first time we ever see him get broken. Steve Rogers is in a worse place now than he ever was before. He watched Bucky. He basically watched Bucky disappear from him again. If you count the movies, but pretty much for the third time, maybe even fourth time. It's not exactly Rocket Raccoon. He's like, yes, he watched Groot die, and now the build up. Sorry. Actually, I think the build-up and the reason that we've seen a lot of Cap is what will make him more compelling. We don't know how he'll operate in space, or if he'll ever even do anything in space, or do whatever. Honestly, I think that, and you're right, maybe those great speeches will work, and he will perform acts of heroism. And I honestly think that Cap will be as much of a heart as anyone in the movie. He knows he's right, and he's willing to fight for it. Whereas Rocket, you think, he only really earned that development at the end of 2. And even in this movie, he was kind of just like snarking the way along. Barely. I just think that honestly, Steve Rogers that Captain America, over the course of this film, will grow into the hero that he needs to be. And definitely. Okay, I'm done.
Okay, so
that was a bad start.
All right, guys. I just want to give you a little word of wisdom as we go into the fight now. A little something. You get hurt them back. Get killed, walk it off. Fight.
I'm loving these themes, Dragon. All right, so Dragon, so Jacob, you sound like a wounded animal right now. You were about to say that that Rocket didn't have anything significant to do in Infinity War.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
how about being the main player who helps Thor get his groove back?
I actually wasn't about to say that.
Well, I'm just saying. I'm just saying, like that's. Well, it sounded like you were about to imply something about like Rocket was just kind of on the sidelines in Infinity War.
Nope.
All right. Well, I'm sorry. I'm trying to. So basically, I just think that Rocket, like I said, yeah, you're not wrong in terms of his arc really starting around the time of Volume 2's ending. But I'm just saying, like that's we didn't really like Thor until Ragnarok, so Thor is arguably kind of like in that Volume 2 sort of territory. But
The thing, yeah. So honestly, like I said, as I mentioned in my opening statement, I think the buildup of Captain America, like this is a place we've never seen him before. The mainstream place to explore. Rocket, I mean, there's only so much you could be able to do with that. I mean, and this actually be the end of Captain America, so they're definitely going to need to send him out on a high note. We know we're going to see Rocket again.
okay, you mentioned that it's going to be like the third or fourth time that he watched Bucky die, and honestly, I don't really see that as a selling point. It's like, to me, it's like we've seen Captain America. Yeah, this is the most high stakes situation he's ever been involved with, sure. But we've seen him kind of be the morally upright guy who's sort of there to propel everyone up, tell them to keep fighting. And it, like, I'm not saying that Cap is not going to have standout moments in Endgame and that it's not going to be an exciting conclusion to his story.
But wouldn't that make him an MVP, the most valuable player?
Okay, I'm saying in terms of the question, I feel like when I look at the question, I don't necessarily think of like the MVP in terms of like, I think like helping in terms of like the actual conflict is just one part of the puzzle. I think the bigger part of the puzzle is how much they're going to add to the actual movie, and that's where Rocket kind of comes in for me. I feel like Rocket is going to he's going to be the heart of the movie for me. He's going to be the one that really sells the stakes, really sells the fact that like everyone is gone. Like Rocket literally doesn't have anything left to fight for except for to be on the side of the Avengers and to fight for good and to avenge. Like Rocket is really kind of like the symbolic kind of like root of the Avengers at this point.
Honestly, I believe that that kind of burden would be shared with everyone, not just Rocket.
Well, like I said, Rocket, the thing that really kind of defines Rocket is the fact that he's lost everyone. I mean, he's lost his entire extended family. And like I said, we know that there's going to be a scene probably early on with Nebula where she's going to let him know. So, yeah, he might not be aware of that right now, but there's going to be a scene early on where he's going to get that heartbreaking news. And it's like, to Rocket, that's going to be like the dusting all over again, man. But like I said, the big triple threat with Rocket is not only is he going to be kind of like one of the big emotional cores with this movie, but Rocket Raccoon is always a character that you can put in really interesting and fun action set pieces and just have them go down. Just really, really like Rocket Raccoon's action set pieces are like ballets of chaos. And I feel like that. I feel like we're going to get at least one or two of those. Of course, everyone's excited for him and War Machine teaming up. That's a great kind of money shot in the trailer. And also, as we said, the great thing about Rocket Raccoon is that he masks his humor with wit. He masks his sadness with wit. So I feel like we're going to get one of the most sardonic Rocket Raccoons that we've ever seen. Not to mention, of course, there's still a lot of characters that still have yet to interact with Rocket Raccoon, specifically Tony Stark himself. I can't wait to see a scene with Tony Stark kind of like, oh, what the hell is that thing? Does that thing have rabies? You know, and that's the thing. I feel like Rocket Raccoon is way more of an unknown element. It's like we all know what we're going to get with Steve Rogers. With Rocket Raccoon, I feel like there's a million things the writers can do with him. There's a million different character interactions that we haven't seen with him before now. And to me, it's way more exciting. Like with Steve Rogers, I feel like it's almost an inevitability that Steve Rogers is going to be kind of like the the moral core of the team, who's going to give the big speeches, probably going to sacrifice. Like I said, I already kind of know what I'm going to get with Steve Rogers going in. Whereas with Rocket Raccoon, the only thing that I know is that Rocket has suffered the most personal loss out of any of the Avengers. And that's the only thing that I know about him going into this movie. And it's all I know.
I don't think he's lost. I don't think he's personally lost the most. He's lost his members of his family, sure. But that doesn't, but remember, he doesn't really give a rat's ass about or raccoon's ass about anything else. Steve Rogers, on the other hand, has to bear the brunt of losing half the planet that he's fought to defend.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good argument, but like I said, Steve Rogers, his whole thing, his whole shtick is that he's kind of like the martyr who kind of like bears the weight of the world on his shoulders. That's not really. Sure, it's bigger stakes than what we've seen before with it.
Do you remember, not counting the end credit scenes, but do you remember what the last line of the movie of Infinity War is? It's the broken Steve Rogers going, "Oh God."
Yes, I know.
It's like that alone like sets it up like how much this has affected him. Like, yes, I think honestly Steve Rogers could also be the emotional core of this. If Iron Man was one of the crutches of the last movie, he's going to be one of the crutches of this one. Honestly, I don't think Rocket Raccoon would be able to carry this kind of thing on his own.
I think that Rocket Raccoon is definitively going to be the scene stealer with the moments in the movie that we are not expecting. I feel like he is going to be
for me. I've been avoiding the trailers for this movie like the plague. So pretty much any scene in this movie is going to surprise me, even the ones that people might be expecting, like with Captain America. It's like, for me personally, I think Captain America himself is going to be the more emotional center for this. Like you'll expect Rocket to be all that. I mean, basically, these are characters we both all know. These are basically they're reacting to the situation. But I think Steve Rogers is going to be more central to the conflict, and actually contribute more to the plot of the movie.
I mean, again, I go back to the MVP thing. It's like he might be more central just because he's a central Avenger. That's true. But that doesn't necessarily make him the MVP. To me, I feel like Rocket Raccoon he's the bigger full package where there's just way more unpredictability with what Rocket is going to do in this movie. He's completely unhinged. He's never suffered a loss this big before.
Technically, this isn't the first time we've seen Captain America unhinged. Captain America and Steve Rogers definitely has the capability of going unhinged. Like, remember Civil War? He could, and this could.
Okay, that's exactly my point, Jacob. That's exactly my point. To me, it's like what we're going to get in this movie is basically going to be like an even more stoic and staunch version of Steve Rogers in Civil War.
So we're basically going to see a stoic and moody Rocket Raccoon that'd be completely betraying his character.
No. Okay, you see, you're completely missing my point here. Rocket Raccoon is not a stoic and moody character, so his emotion is going to come out in other more unpredictable ways. That's my whole point. That's why I'm more looking forward to seeing Rocket Raccoon and how he deals with the situation, because Rocket is definitively like a stand-up comedian character. He deals with his grief he literally, this is a character who deals with the fact that he has cybernetic limbs by thinking that it's like the most funny thing in the world to steal other people's limbs. Like that's dealing with a personal trauma in a really bizarre, unpredictable, but totally on brand way with him. And that's the thing. That's what I really think is going to elevate him. And like I said, he's the unknown quantity in this whole group. Like nobody is going to know what to make of him. He is like kind of like that one of these things is not like the other, like, element when you put all these characters in a line. I mean, I can't wait to see him interact with everyone. It's going to be so fun. You know, who knows? Maybe we could get like a giant Rocket Raccoon with the Ant-Man tech, or, you know, to me, there's just like endless possibilities with how Rocket Raccoon is going to fare in this movie. And to me, the fact that he is the only surviving member of the Guardians of the Galaxy, that to me just like opens up the door of like, he is the single representative of that team in this movie. And Guardians of the Galaxy is one of the most popular and one of the most critically acclaimed franchises in the MCU. So there's a lot of weight on his shoulders. There's a lot that's writing on Rocket Raccoon being awesome in this movie. And I feel like they're going to deliver on it.
Okay, I concede.
So did you say you can see or you can see?
I concede.
Oh, really?
I mean, I was saying, I'm saying my arguments are over.
Okay. All right. So, but not a surrender though, right?
Not entirely.
All right. Okay. All right. I'm Donovan. If you're there, listen up. Okay, so I'm gonna have you, by all means, give us some feedback here because I'm gonna need some help deliberating on this one. All right, this is a messy one, this fight, because there's a lot of good stuff here on both sides. But I feel there were again definitely some strengths and weaknesses here. So let's see. So Tiki. Tiki, I feel had a solid argument. I do. I think he had a solid argument. He knew exactly what he was going for with Rocket. He's arguing like the dazzling action set pieces. That's kind of a standard Rocket Raccoon. A lot of potential. Especially Tony Stark, which Donovan had gone on to say it'd be hilarious seeing Tony Stark just freak out when he sees Rocket Raccoon. What if he's like afraid of raccoons? It'd be hilarious. But no. But in general, it sounds really funny. Beyond that, Tiki's arguing basically. On the whole, Tiki's arguing the unpredictability and the new territory. Jacob did make the point though that you can only do so much, and we know we're going to see him again. He's making a few points like that, and he's making the fact that he's kind of sharing the same thing everybody's feeling. Like I imagine Hawkeye will also feel a little bit like he'll be in Rocket shoes with an actual family. Tiki didn't say that, but it's nice. So
that's a good point. Yeah,
then it's just bearing some fruit there a little bit, but. So there's some points there with Rocket. The bigger problem I had with Tiki is that he just for a while, and again, he did kind of account for this. Is why I'm on the fence. Is that Tiki he was just kind of going on and on about Rocket's lost everything. He's the mascot for the Guardians. He's all that's left. And it's like he's got a point, but I think we're just kind of a little repetitive on that one, Tiki. So that's something you got to shake here. 2 rounds, you're getting a little repetitive with a few things. You got to shake it up a little. Jacob. So Jacob, you had Cap. Material to work with. I feel he stumbled in the opening statement. I think that was really you kind of egregiously stumbled on the opening of Cap. You did clean up towards the end of it. Well, I guess in the middle of it, then you kind of stumbled again. It's like he's fumbling, then he gets up, then he's stumbling again. But he made some points. Beyond that, I feel during the main round though, you did highlight a lot of great points with Cap. Importantly, you did account for a lot of what Tiki was throwing at you. Like he's in a place that we've never seen Cap before. You brought up the Oh God, which is my favorite part of it. One of my favorite parts of Infinity War. You get to the point like we're going to see Steve Rogers in a new place. You kind of lost half the planet. I feel Tiki did come at you with a little bit like kind of some martyr stuff, which I feel I don't. The point is, I feel Jacob ran out of steam, not just the whole conceding thing, but before that. I feel Jacob was running low on steam during the fight. I think there's a lot more he could have found within Cap. So I'm going to double check here, see what we got from Donovan. Yeah, I gotta look. I gotta agree that I'm kind of leaning this way myself. I think Donovan's kind of clinching it for me here without remorse. Donovan's going Rocket for the win. Rocket for the win, and he believes that. I think Tiki agrees that Tiki did kind of repeat the argument a little bit. So he's giving me some constructive criticism on that point. But beyond that, though, I think he's in your favor. I gotta be honest. I'm in your favor too, Tiki. I'm gonna give the point to Tiki.
All right. Okay, Dragon, this one's going to be wordy, so just explain how this one's going to work before I pull up the randomizer.
All right, folks, I'm going to explain this. We're going to have Tiki kind of providing the visuals for this. So, okay, round 3. This is an experimental round. We're trying something out here, folks. Could turn out really well. Could turn out really disastrous.
This is a
it could be
one, man.
So, This is an experimental round to reflect the end of Infinity War. Of course, there's a lot of unpredictability, like there is in life. There's some unpredictability in life as well as the end of Infinity War. That's kind of what we're reflecting in this question here. So, as a tribute to the lost heroes, the heroes that we lost to cancellation, as well as the Thanos snap. I bring you Dust to Dust. So essentially, what we're doing here, folks, is the full question is Dust to Dust. Which Netflix hero should have crossed over with a dusted one? So we're going to have 2 randomizers, folks. One randomizer has a list of our leads in the Netflix series because we're all kind of sad and a little bit embittered over the Netflix shows being canceled because of Disney Plus, and they won't say officially it's because of Disney Plus, but we know the truth. It's because of Disney Plus. Anyway, point being. Our Netflix shows got canceled, and we're kind of paying tribute to them. Mainly our 5 leads, which would be Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, and the Punishers. Those are our guys. And on the flip side of things, we're going to say on the flip side, we have another randomizer which boasts the 12 dusted heroes. Basically, as we can glean from poster, not counting characters like Vision, Loki, or Vision, Loki, or I'm blanking on the third one right now. Gamora. So yeah, right. So of course these 3 are characters that chances are they're going to come back, but we don't know 100%. And beyond that, they weren't specifically dusted, which is the main reason we're not including them. Basically, all I'm thinking mainly the Chinese poster they released for the release of Avenger. So they show all the surviving heroes and all the dusted heroes, which kind of revealed to us, Shuri's very likely a goner. So with that, we've listed the 12 dusted heroes, and basically we're going to go here is these guys do not have a pick in advance, but they've been informed of what the choices are here. So we're going to randomize it. We're going to go to each player. We're going to go to Tiki.
So basically, we're gonna randomize, see who gets one. Like, what do you mean by crossover? Like movie or series? Or what?
I was getting to that. So.
Okay.
Here's what we're doing, folks. Okay, so I'm going to turn to Tiki here, and for example, we're going to start with Tiki, then we're going to get to Jacob. So Tiki, we're going to hit the randomizer on the Netflix series, and whichever one pops up first is the one he gets. And then we're going to do it again for the Dusted Heroes, and which the first one pops up is what he gets. So basically, you guys got to pitch me why these characters should have crossed over. Like why these 2 characters, one of the Netflix heroes and one of the Dusted heroes. Again, they're both gone essentially. Why, in a perfect world, what would have been like if they crossed over? Why should they have crossed over? Why is this like the most perfect pair that never happened? Essentially, that's what you guys have to sell me on. Again, we're trying to remembrance for the deceased and for the canceled. That's kind of what we're doing here. So you follow me, Jacob?
So for just how they should interact, basically.
Exactly, like how they should interact, like why they should have crossed over, maybe what that crossover would be like, stuff like that. Just kind of sell me on these 2 characters meeting, basically make me wistful, like, oh, why couldn't that have happened?
And are we allowed to do just so to get it out of the way, we're not allowed to do re-rolls, right?
No.
I didn't think so. Just thought I'd get that out of the way, just in case there's any confusion.
So again, it's our Netflix leads and our 12. Just to explain it to Donovan as well. So our Netflix leads, so only the lead characters, and our one of our 12 dusted heroes. So again, Tiki, you hit the randomizer. We'll figure which Netflix character you got.
Jessica Jones. All right.
All right, Tiki's got Jessica Jones. And funny, Donovan was actually talking about Jessica Jones, so it's kind of ironic. Maybe Donovan, again, maybe he does have the gauntlet after all. Who knows?
Jessica Jones.
I'm going to read them off real quick here, Tiki. So we got Black Panther, Bucky, Doctor Strange, Drax, Falcon, Groot, Mantis, Nick Fury, Scarlet Witch, Shuri, Spider-Man, and Star-Lord. Those are our 12 dusted heroes. So,
I'm kind of terrified.
Let's see who he gets. Jessica Jones is going to meet
Falcon.
Falcon.
Oh, why Falcon?
What do you mean, why Falcon? What is that supposed to mean?
Interesting.
How dare you?
Who knows? My combination could be interesting too.
All right, so Jake, let's see what Jacob got. Well, what he's gonna get.
I can't wait to hear this.
All right, so obviously if it comes up Jessica Jones, he's gonna have that's the only case in which we'd have to do it again.
Well, wait a minute. If it comes up Jessica Jones, he could still have a different dusted character that he interacts.
Oh, sure,
with.
but I mean, still, do we want to go completely different, or I mean, just
I think that's the kind of the point of the randomizer, though.
All right, fine. We'll let it land as it lands. All right, fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, I get Jessica Jones.
Ironically enough.
All right.
Can we
Well,
just
so
what if I get Falcon again?
Well, obviously, if you get Falcon again, then we'll just re-roll both. But
all right.
I mean,
oh god,
do we have to keep the same Netflix hero? I mean,
Well, I
just
take
don't
it up
want
with.
to fall into the same arguments that Tiki
Tell you what.
does.
Okay, tell you what. I'm gonna leave it. Okay, tell you what. I'm gonna ask Donovan. All right. We're gonna sell this right now. Okay. I'm gonna leave
oh
it.
god.
Donovan, listen. Donovan, it's in your hands right now. Do you want? You can make Jacob suffer if you want. No one will begrudge you. Okay. Would you allow Jacob to redo the Netflix hero? Do you want him to stick with Jessica Jones, or do you want to see a different one that he gets? Your call. I mean, hold the line right now.
Oh man.
Just want to read off a few comments while we're at it here. He's hoping for Jessica and Scarlet Witch. That'd be fantastic. Which obviously it does sound really neat. Oh, he says stick with it. Okay, you got to stick with it.
Stick with it. Okay. It was
All
in
right.
Donovan's hands. Sorry, Jacob.
You got the gauntlet, buddy. I don't know what to tell you. All right.
Jessica Jones.
All right, let's see. Unless it's Falcon. Okay, Shuri. Jessica Jones and Shuri.
Can we switch? Can I trade you?
No.
Hey, I have to stick with Jessica Jones.
I know.
Why is Shuri even on this list anyway? She's not an Avenger.
Oh, it's Steve dusted though. She was dusted.
I mean, you didn't put Maria Hill on here.
Well, now we're getting all these semantics.
Right, to be fair, Maria Hill has had what, like 10 minutes of screen time throughout like 7 movies.
She was a major character in the first Avengers. And I believe she was in Iron Man, I think.
Well, let's say, she wasn't in Iron Man, but it's 45 minutes tops.
Okay, well, look, the cards have fallen where they lie, so let's just play this out and see how it fares.
Okay.
All right, so opening statement, Tiki. Tell me, why these characters should have crossed over. Tell me.
So, you know what Jessica Jones likes? She likes big, strapping black men.
Oh man, this is not going to be PC at all. All right, go on.
Falcon is just going to like remind her of Luke Cage, and it's going to be like. But you know what? Falcon is like the more sensitive. He's the more sensitive version of Luke Cage. He's like the version of Luke Cage that Jessica Jones always wanted. And the thing that what we're going to do is we're going to kind of do like a demon in the bottle type storyline where Jessica Jones, of course, very haunted, very very troubled character. Falcon also has some troubles of his own. He, of course, he has his war history. And basically what we're going to do is these two are going to get together, and Jessica Jones is going to be a bad influence on Falcon. Jessica Jones is going to essentially spiral Falcon into an alcohol-fueled downward spiral. And it's going to be kind of like a Requiem for a Dream style movie with Falcon and Jessica Jones just getting wasted in a hotel room together for 2 hours, because the whole idea is that Falcon is the good guy and Jessica Jones is just I don't know where I'm going with this. It's gonna be an alcohol dependency movie, all right? Because all right.
Sorry, I'll mute.
No, go ahead, Jacob. That's about all I got.
I just didn't want my laughter to distract you.
That's about all I got here.
All right, time to try my best.
This character in the MCU.
What?
He's what? I didn't hear you.
I said he's not the deepest character in the MCU.
I disagree with that very much so, but we don't have time for that. So,
well, sure, not exactly deep either. I mean, this is the character that would like, what are those? All right.
Well, one, okay, I just want to put it in perspective here, just to maybe fuel your fight a little bit, Jacob. Again, Tiki's the main reason you're stuck with Jessica Jones and Donovan. Donovan was the one who just cinched it, all right. But Tiki's the one who brought up, like, no, we can keep Jessica Jones. All right, so maybe that'll fuel the fire, man. Get the eye of the tiger.
Okay. Just kidding, Donovan. No hard feelings. Don't hate me. All right. For some odd reason, Jessica Jones and Shuri would come across each other somehow, just by being completely different continents from each other. Perhaps she's visiting the Wakandan. Perhaps Shuri's at, maybe she's at the Institute in there, and she comes across, and for whatever reason, Jessica's in California for some. Probably to buy more booze or buy more booze during an investigation, from all we know.
I just love that. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, but you can go ahead. What you were gonna say?
Oh, I was just gonna say I just love how our one defining character trait for Jessica Jones is alcohol.
I mean,
it's not like she has PTSD or anything. Just God forbid.
I know. I mean, if we act as technically. Well, if we act as like a sequel to like a quasi sequel to Infinity War, there could actually be some PTSD involved on both. Like they actually deal with both of them dealing with a traumatic event. Like obviously, if Shuri comes, if they come back to life, Shuri will probably obviously not be happy about being dusted by Thanos. This could be like them. Actually, and considering that Jessica Jones has the abilities and that Shuri's a genius, they could actually pull off quite a bunch of cool fight scenes together. And it could be about two of these characters fighting together that sound without being too feministic or female. I could actually talk about the whole PTSD angle and all that thing, like while being slightly less mature, slightly less M-rated than Jessica Jones, but slightly more so than Infinity War or Black Panther was. They could touch upon one thing that Black Panther and Jessica Jones have in common is that they both touched upon some extremely serious issues. And both these characters interacting actually could provide an interesting note and provide an interesting example of side characters headlining a series, or yes, maybe even a series or a movie. I think a series would actually be more capable of fleshing these two out.
All right, guys, I'm going to keep it simple with kind of there's one word of inspiration to go into this fight. Just one simple word. Smash. Go on.
Okay. In all seriousness, though, I feel like I have the edge on the PTSD angle because Falcon, of course, he has been in war. He probably has PTSD. He was even running a support group for PTSD. So I feel like that is kind of like the natural connection that Jessica Jones would have to Falcon. Maybe she's investigating a soldier or something like that, or like a shady government operation that involves soldiers, and she ends up in his support group undercover or something like that. And I do think that the two would have energy, and I really shouldn't have led with the big strapping black man thing. That was a mistake.
By the way, Donovan had some words for you on that one.
That would call us on that, but But in all seriousness, though, I think what I'm pitching is actually relatively compelling because I feel like the interesting thing with Falcon is that he is a guy who definitely has a set of morals to him, but he's more of an everyman than Steve Rogers. And so because of that, I feel like he is a little bit more malleable than a Captain America. And I do genuinely feel like there is an interesting story to tell with him falling in love with Jessica Jones based on shared traumatic experiences and Jessica Jones kind of sending him down this kind of dark path. You know, and maybe on the other side of it is him donning the mantle of Captain America, but he can't get to the Captain America mantle before he has to go on this intense personal struggle with this woman who he very much cares about, but is also kind of messing his life up. And I feel like there is some very dramatic, kind of interesting, intimate places you can go with a story like that.
Okay. It's definitely a good way to go about that.
Okay, as you already said with Shuri, the circumstances for these two even meeting up are questionable. I feel like Jessica Jones is much more likely to just bump into Falcon than she would be with Shuri, because Shuri, of course, she's either going to be in Wakanda or she's going to be in the Ambassador Center of Wakanda, and I just don't know why Jessica Jones would ever go there. And I just don't necessarily see these two getting along, but not in a fun way, just in kind of like a, gee, you're kind of a know-it-all, but you're kind of a bitch. I don't really like you. And I don't know. I just, like I said, I feel like there is more of a compelling human drama to Falcon and Jessica Jones, whereas this would just kind of be like I don't know, just a weird odd couple dynamic that wouldn't really be that compelling.
I mean, the only other thing I can think of, like, she'd be investigating the Wakandan embassy, but what would she be investigating it for? That's the problem. You're completely right. Sorry.
We get to see Jessica Jones fly, all right? What if Jessica Jones takes the wings and she fully flies? Enough of this leaping shit. She fully takes flight.
Yeah.
I believe it's called Falling with Style, which you usually do.
Oh, jeez. I
We
mean, sure.
like the inverse of like the Superman scene with Falcon carrying Jessica Jones around and just like...
Can you read my mind?
I mean, maybe a move, maybe Falcon and Jessica would work for a movie, but maybe Shuri and think can kind of work for for a series. Or like maybe like they could they've been trying to think about something on Disney Plus to bring these characters here, so maybe that could be a connection.
Okay, just to be clear, I think my crossover would work for one episode. This would be like a very special episode type deal. It'd be a standalone thing. We've already seen Falcon have more small scale cameos within other larger scale properties. He worked very well in Ant-Man in that regard. So I feel like we've already kind of seen him in that capacity.
Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to make a convincing argument here. I mean, there's not much you can do with Shuri. I mean, she wasn't even. She was only in a few select scenes in Black Panther.
All right, I've heard.
And barely even and only contributed to helping Vision in Infinity War.
Okay. All right.
I mean, I'm sorry she's a good character, but she wouldn't be able to do much with Jessica Jones.
All right, look, Jacob, these sorts of missions aren't really helping your case, and I'm afraid I have to inform you that
I wasn't going to win anyway.
Well, here's the thing. Tiki had a terrible opening statement. His opening statement stunk to high heaven. Quite possibly one of the, if not the worst opening statement we've ever had.
Okay, but to be fair, I took the foundation of my opening statement and I actually made it into something.
I was getting there. My point is you had a terrible opening statement, but he found his footing in the main round, though, using that crap. And
I had a better opening, but I couldn't go on.
That's the thing. You guys were opposites in that regard. So again, Jacob was starting to come a little unfurled at the end there with the point of like, well, yeah, they would, basically the circumstantial location of it all is kind of where Jacob was really kind of tripping in the beginning there, but he was going for it. He made an effort, but let's face it again, unbelievably, given that horrific opening statement, Tiki managed to pull it off. I feel, just for the record, though, I want to say this. Jacob Jones and Falcon could work. Not for the opening statement Tiki was laying out there, but for the whole for the fact that they both have PTSD, his war experience. Of course, the fact that Falcon again he was the counselor for all that sort of stuff. I really wish Tiki didn't go the love story angle. I really wish Tiki went the angle of maybe Falcon could I don't know maybe help Jessica Jones help fix her life maybe.
Well, that's the thing. I actually agree with Tiki.
That dragon.
And the thing he really had me on was the whole he could be potentially Captain America at this point, which would be fascinating given Jessica Jones has no respect for Captain America yet. Yet again, Falcon could be the in for that sort of thing. I don't know.
I was actually agreeing with him. But I could not say that.
Yeah, and here's the thing, Jake. Just for the record, with Shuri, you had angles of the other again, the whole contrast, the fact that Shuri, she's all uplifted and proactive and stuff. She, again, she could educate.
That wouldn't be interesting though. I wouldn't find that interesting.
Could be fun.
I would find it interesting just because I feel like Shuri's one of the most fun side characters to come along in a while in the MCU.
Yeah, but Jessica Jones, don't get me wrong, she's a good series, but she'd be a total buzzkill.
But you have the cynic and the youth. You have the older grizzled, kind of cynic, and you have the young yeah.
And I tried to play that, but it just didn't work.
All right. So let's not make Jacob suffer any longer on this. Okay, so
I mean, can you think of any fun ways to make them work like that, Dragon?
Is there a few out there?
I said fun ways, not cliche ways.
Anyway. Okay, moving on. Okay, guys, I'm going to offer you the Infinity Coin. So, Tiki, you feeling lucky? Do you? Huh? You want?
Yeah, I actually am feeling lucky. Let's do it.
All right, let's see if Tiki's going to get a point dusted away or not. Oh, dusted away. It's 1-1. Jacob, how you feeling?
Perfectly balanced as all things should be.
So you want to stay balanced, Jacob, or you want to risk it?
Well, I mean, if I lose a point, it'll be balanced even further again. So I'd basically lose 2. So why not?
All right.
Let's give it a shot.
Oh,
Whoa.
shit.
Jacob.
That did not work out well for me.
There's a reversal for you, folks. Tiki was in the lead. Now Jacob is the same point value, just reversed.
Man.
Wow.
Shit.
It's not balanced, it's reversed.
Yeah.
All
right. Okay, so that brings us to the speed round, guys. And of course, the speed round goes 30 seconds, followed by a 15-second rebuttal, and whoever speaks first has to go first. That's how the speed round goes. We have definitely some fun shakeups and fun surprises around the corner for these speed rounds. So and of course, we're playing 6 points, folks.
Try not to screw anybody over this time, Dragon. You always seem to target me when that happens. It's like, oh, it's not actually the best. We're going for the worst.
Anyway, well, we'll see what happens. I mean, Loki is the trickster god after all. We'll see what happens. It is April. I'll tease you that much, guys. All right, anyway. Okay, so we'll start with some topical stuff. Here's a topical speed round question. And of course, Donovan, again, especially in the speed round, might be deferring to you for some rulings here. So you keep your listening cap on, buddy boy. Keep that gauntlet. Keep that. Get some chalk for the gauntlet, man. You're gonna need to practice some snapping here. Okay. All right. Given that Disney Plus has given the recent Disney Plus announcements of all their shows and release dates and such, and the details that we've gotten, I ask you, gentlemen, this. What will the best Disney Plus MCU show be? There are 4 that have been revealed. What's going to be the best?
Hawkeye.
He's got Hawkeye.
Can you remind me of the others?
Okay, I'll tell you what the others are. Okay, so now Hawkeye's off the table, but beyond that, you have Loki. You got WandaVision. No, that's just one show. It's called WandaVision, and then you have the Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
I mean, all those. I know it's 2 I'm leaning towards.
There are details on Loki, though, so you might be at a disadvantage if you don't know those details, and if Tiki does. That's assuming Tiki remembers those details, which I'm getting a sense maybe that may not be the case. So you do
I do not.
The point is, you're probably safe even if you did Loki. But again, maybe if you do a pitch, you.
I know that one of the show writers for Rick and Morty is on for Loki. I mean, other than that, there's not much, and other than that, there's not much details regarding any of these shows.
And just to address this with Donovan, no, I didn't include. Donovan makes a good point here. It might be an. I'm sorry, there might be a fifth option. I'm weighing right now whether to include or not because Donovan makes an excellent point that it is an MCU show, so I probably should include it. Okay, there is a fifth option, gentlemen.
Talking about What If?
Yes, What If?
Yeah, I'm going to leave that off the table since the only thing that's known is that's basically alternate scenes but it's animated.
That's the thing; it's a little vague, so that's why it's left off What If. But it is technically going to be in the MCU. So okay, let's just stick with the four. So add the four. What do you want?
I think I'll try going with Loki.
All right, Jacob's going with Loki.
All right. Jeremy Renner Hawkeye series is just like, to me, it's almost a too good to be true situation. Like, it's almost a dream because Hawkeye, of course, is a character where as soon as Jeremy Renner was cast, we were like, that's perfect casting. But of course, he was a little bit sidelined in the Avengers. And now he's going to be playing a big part in Endgame. And so I feel like, tying up all his loose ends is going to be something that's great. And it's going to be a dream come true for that casting.
Loki isn't. Though he's definitely had his time to show his character. We haven't had a lot of time to show it. We haven't really had a lot of time to explore it. Because in Thor, he was basically just this guy who basically this son who wanted to be on his throne, and his face is pretty much just tricked into the throne in a dark world. And everything, pretty much everything else is he's just been there and been done tricks. Here's that we can actually see a deeper introspection into his character, and to see maybe even explore the 9 realms in a greater capacity.
I think the danger with Loki is that it's almost kind of like the Maleficent effect. Like, are you going to make him too sympathetic? The fun thing about Loki is that he's kind of this trickster character. And if you give him too much heart, if you make him too much of a main focus, you might kind of diminish that.
Loki's already kind of shown to have a bit of a heart throughout some of these movies, despite being the trickster god. And considering that the writer, it supposedly is from Rick and Morty, who's actually has that kind of balance of being tricky and heartfelt and funny, and while showing this fantastical realms, perfect fit.
Okay, this is an interesting one. It's definitely an interesting one. Donovan, let's see. Let me see what Donovan's. Donovan wanted the WandaVision show, which is also a good pick. You know what? Okay, so let's see. So Tiki, I think you really I think came out the gate strong. Basically, I think Tiki's opening statement was better than Jacob's, but I feel Jacob really accounted for what Tiki threw at him, because Tiki threw really something really darning to him. He threw the whole Maleficent point, which it's a big one, but by the same point, Jacob made the anti-hero point. Loki, especially with Thor Ragnarok and stuff, he's been going the anti-hero direction. He got some good talent on it with the Rick and Morty writers. So and they would explore the character, and I feel the only problem is I feel Tiki again. He made a call, and I can't really fault that call. Is that Tiki made the decision to go after Loki before he was going to flesh out Hawkeye, and I think there are some other points he could have made with Hawkeye, but again, it's not that withstanding. I got to give it to Jake because he impressed me the round, so I'm going to give the point to Jacob.
All right.
I was leaning to Tiki, but then Jacob kind of won me. Right, so Jacob's got 3 points.
Oh boy!
All right. Okay, let's see. All right, okay, next question. Okay, in honor of Easter, what is the best Easter egg in the MCU? And no, it can't be an Infinity Stone. It can't be like a big plot, revealed, it can't be like the Orb from Guardians that turns out to be the power sense. No Infinity Stones. It could also, I'll accept references, but Easter egg or reference.
Okay, would Howard the Duck count?
That would count, yes.
Okay, I'm going to go with Howard the Duck.
Tiki's going. Howard the Duck. What the duck?
Specifically the post credits from Guardians of the Galaxy 1, Howard the Duck.
Okay.
There's a lot of them.
10 years worth of material.
I thought the question was going to be what Avenger would make the best Easter Bunny.
That's a good question, but no.
I was all ready to be like, Hulk! It's got to be Hulk!
Hulk had eggs.
Don has a few really good suggestions, but I'm gonna let you guys pick before I read them. He's got one of my favorites actually, but I can't divulge it.
I'm not gonna look at his comments. I don't want to cheat.
Good.
There's a lot of them to choose from.
Yeah.
Would Cap's shield and Iron Man count?
Well, which one?
Cap's shield in the first Iron Man, like where he was like shown like rebuilding Iron Man's shield. I mean Captain America's shield.
Well, there are two different shield references in Iron Man 1 and Iron Man 2. Which one are you going with?
The one. I don't even remember the one in 2. I was going with the one that went on his work desk.
Okay, well that's okay. So you want that then?
I'll go with that one. That's really the first one that pops into my mind.
Okay, so in Iron Man 1, when he's having the suit removed, you can see, like, if you kind of freeze it, you can see it on the desk. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Now I just want to reveal it, by the way. So Donovan, he pointed out, he said Iron Man 2 Illuminati, but my favorite one, if it's the one he's mentioning here, is he says a reference on a phone. And I believe what he means there is in Iron Man 1, they have the Iron Man theme, the Iron Man, the old 60s cartoon Iron Man, like Tony Stark is the hottest news, that theme is in the first Iron Man movie. One, it's in the score, but it's also on his phone. It has like kind of a phone, kind of a specialized phone ringtone version of it. That's one of my favorites. That's one he's talking about. Yeah, that's a good one. That's one of my favorites from going all the way back to the first. It's like that's so clever. They got the theme song to the show in the movie. I'm trailing off.
I know. I'll stick with the shield, but would working the '60s Spider-Man theme into the opening of Homecoming count?
Well, I mean, it's it's an Easter egg. It's kind of working. Yeah, I'd allow it, but now you're stuck with the shield. So
I know. I guess I'll stick with the shield because I'll stick with the shield, but I was just saying would that have counted?
It probably would, because it is a direct, it's an Easter egg. Like, yeah, it's the Spider-Man song built into it. So yeah, sure, it would have counted.
All right.
Okay.
Hey guys, Easter it up whenever you're ready.
So I was absolutely blown away and delighted by the presence of Howard the Duck at the end of Guardians of the Galaxy. I mean, I just thought it was just the most on-brand thing that the MCU had ever done up until that point. Here we had the big WTF, literal, like, who are these assholes movie that ended up being a smash hit, and at the end of it is Howard the Duck, kind of the poster child of failed Marvel properties. It's perfect.
Iron Man, as everyone is obviously well aware, is the movie that set up the MCU. Though potentially we didn't even know it at the time. I mean, it's a movie that nobody knew would be successful. Nobody was expecting it to be successful, but in hopes of like potentially releasing future movies, there's a reference, a shield, which actually signified that this might actually be a larger universe. And wouldn't you know?
I mean, yeah, the shield's a neat Easter egg, but they don't really even focus on it. It's not a big deal in the terms of the plot. I feel like another great thing about Howard is that it makes sense that he'd be in the Collector's Collection. It just makes so much sense within the fabric of that movie and that universe.
It definitely makes it for an interesting Easter egg, though. I mean, Easter eggs are something that are hidden, which hence the term Easter egg. And the shield isn't in plain view, which is only something spotted by Eagle Eye fans. I mean, Howard the Duck, though interesting, is handed to you and openly appears in the next movie anyway.
Interesting, very interesting. All right. Again, I'm gonna allow Donovan to weigh on this by all means, but let's see. Just in deliberation here. Looks like. I feel just Jake, just a word of warning, man. I think you ate up a lot of your time building to the very end there about about the shield. I feel you should try to kind of strike while the iron's hot. It's a little helpful advice there, but again, it's just my own 2 cents on the matter. But Jacob makes an interesting point about how it's kind of more technically an Easter egg. Again, they both count as Easter eggs by all means. I'm saying he's making an interesting point. I just feel it might be point made maybe a little too late, but I'm just. I feel Tiki. Let me put it this way: I feel Tiki framed in the way that complements the movie and how it's an Easter egg that kind of it's saved at the very end. It doesn't like retroactively change the plot or anything. It's something that's kind of signifies Guardians, and it's also kind of like a little bit of an Easter egg. So, and with the fact that I think Donovan's also from looks at the comments here, Donovan's also in favor of Howard. You know what? I'm on the fence. I'm gonna go with Howard the Duck, and that puts Tiki 2 points on the board. So Tiki's got 2, Jacob's got 3 right now.
Okay.
He's catching up.
Right along.
All right. Okay, here's a yay or nay question. I'm going to have you guys argue with perspective here to say yay or nay to this question, all right?
Okay.
Should Endgame have an intermission?
No. Nay.
Dang it, yes.
Tiki's got nay. Jacob's got yay. And yes, folks, we know that yes, they've revealed that it will not have intermission, but there was talk like was it going to have an intermission or not? So we'll argue that perspective, want the argument as to like you should it have had an intermission, like when this was talked to, like should a movie like Endgame, which is clocked in at 3 hours and 2 minutes, get an intermission? So Tiki, whenever you're ready, you're arguing nay. Jacob, you're arguing yay. Okay, Tiki, whenever you're ready.
Yep.
2003 was a glorious year for cinema that was capped off by the cinematic achievement that was The Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King. That thing clocked in at over 3 hours and 20 minutes. We're going to be fine at 3 hours. We've had 3-hour movies before. We'll have 3-hour movies again. Intermissions haven't been a part of the movie-going experience in years and years and years, and it'd throw everyone off if it actually happened. People wouldn't even know what to do.
For the longest time, movies that were over 2 hours had intermissions. There were time to give people breaks, like stretch their legs, and even go to the bathroom for a moment. Movies like this, and even if you have movies like sure, it's entirely dependent on what you eat and if you even have drinks, but even then, sometimes you need to get up and stretch your legs Sometimes these movies need some time to breathe and have the people watching them some time to breathe.
Two arguments against intermission. One, an intermission would give people time to get onto social media in the middle of the movie and spoil it. That's especially important on opening night. And two, it would interrupt the flow of the movie. It would interrupt the pace and the action.
One, people already be on their social media during the movie already, and two, it could be placed after an emotional scene. Honestly, I think that the movie. Honestly, they could actually give more people time to reflect on the movie, on the movie. Maybe it'll give them some time to breathe as well.
All right, I'm going to give that point to Tiki. One, because he was really firing out of the gate during that 15-second rebuttal, and I think breathing room was used too many times. So I'm going to give that point to Tiki. The point is valid. Jacob, you do make a valid point, but I think that social media thing is a real, that's a bit of a clincher right there. Like, as much as I'd love to think that people could take in the thing in the bathroom, but again, much needed. I think Jacob, you argued kind of human necessity. I think Tiki argued logic there, and I think the logic was really sound, like ironclad and sound. So I believe
let's say the person who picked no was going to win that argument anyway.
That's not necessarily true. I mean, again, you could have sold me on it. Anyways, the point is you're tied up, guys.
All right. It's perfectly balanced.
Yes.
All things could be.
Watch, we're going to go like 4 I'm going to get 4, and then Jacob's going to get to 4, and then I'm going to get to 5, and then Jacob's going to get to 5.
The race to the Infinity Stones. That's what this is for us.
He said you got the order reversed there.
Anyway, so Donovan also had a few really fun comments here. He says, "I'm hardcore. We think about intermission, but not us." He says the extended cut is 4 hours, and I don't know if I think it's a joke. I don't really think it's supposed to be 4 hours. At least what I heard.
Who knows the deleted scenes? It very well could be.
Thanos demands your silence. He says, and oh hey, it's we have someone just kind of popped in here. Scott MTHW, welcome. We're this is a debate. We're kind of talking Marvel, kind of getting ready for Endgame. Just kind of a little kind of game show thing we do here in case it's the first timer. It's kind of we do a show Disney debates, and we kind of themed it to the MCU and the Endgame and everything. So that's kind of what we're doing here. Now we're in the speed round of things right now. Jacob, say hello, Jacob.
Hello.
Has 3 points. Tiki
Hello.
has 3 points as well. So we're kind of tied up right now. It's the first 6 points. Okay, you're all caught up to speed.
All right.
Moving on. Next question. Okay, so they've confirmed. I don't know if it was Spy, but someone at Marvel. They've confirmed that they are indeed going to be recasting Wolverine when we see him either in an X-Men movie or see him pop up somewhere, potentially even in Endgame. But I doubt that's going to happen. The point being, whenever we see Wolverine next, he will have a new face. It will not be Hugh Jackman. So, folks, guys, I got to ask you this. Who should be recast as Wolverine in the MCU?
Huh.
Interesting question.
Damn, I wasn't prepared for this.
Me neither.
You know what? I'm going to go with Charlie Hunnam.
Okay, Tiki's got Charlie Hunnam. Recently, by the way, it was in Triple Frontier. Well, fun fact. There is a suggestion which I'll read after Jacob makes his pick.
I'll go with Tom Hardy.
Hey, what do you know? It's what Donovan picked too. Okay, Tom Hardy. Who, by the way, recently has played Eddie Brock.
Oh wait, yes, I completely forgot about Eddie Brock. That Venom.
Well, that's okay. That's not an MCU movie. I don't think that negates anything.
All right. Okay. Tiki, whenever you're ready.
Okay. The appealing thing to me about Charlie Hunnam is that, like, we know the guy's got talent. He headlined a very popular TV show for a number of seasons, but by the same token, he does kind of have that unknown quality to him. He's not like a known household name or anything like that. I feel like the problem with Tom Hardy is that Tom Hardy is almost he's almost a little too recognizable, and while he does have the physique, I don't think he has the wild man quality.
That's the amazing thing about acting and makeup, Tiki. You can actually give that to someone who doesn't. I mean, technically, have you seen Hugh Jackman? He doesn't look like doesn't look like a wild man at all, and yet he was able to play Wolverine for over 10 years. I don't think that kind of thing really matters, and I also don't think I think having a name established by yourself doesn't necessarily negate someone's quality either. I mean, heck, and he's proven that he can inhabit roles, play iconic roles before. I mean, heck, you look at Mad Max. Sure, he's chained up in that, but he still did a damn good job.
I'm just saying, I feel like Charlie Hunnam would be better to bring kind of like that, that fresh face to the role, much in the same way that Hugh Jackman did back in the day. I just feel like with Tom Hardy, there's a little bit too much baggage there.
Sorry, there was a bit of a delay on that one, but
yeah.
I feel like I think we wrapped up at 15 seconds. Would you say?
I think so. It was fine.
Yeah, he's pretty much done at 15 seconds anyway.
All right. Okay. Sorry, Jacob. Whenever you're ready.
In the various roles that Tom Hardy has played, he showed that he can definitely inhabit the roles he's been in. I think a character like Wolverine, even integrated into the MCU, would make a perfect fit. The fresh blood doesn't necessarily mean anything, and he's a great actor otherwise.
Let's see. So again, I turn it over to the audience if they want to weigh in on who they're liking in this round, whose arguments are making more sense to them. Tiki or Jacob with Charlie Hunnam or Tom Hardy. But right now, I'm looking at here is I'm looking at Tiki accounting for Jacob's Hugh Jackman point and kind of making the obvious point that Hugh Jackman wasn't unknown himself, which again is a solid point to make, and Jacob's kind of defending Tom Hardy's honor essentially. It's kind of like, Tom Hardy, well, why can't we cast the name actors? I mean, these guys are both making really sound logic here, and I can't really fault that. Let's see. In the comments too, in regards to the casting, Scott. I think it's supposed to be Scott Matthew, but Scott MTHW and Scott Matthew. Point Scott here. Scott saying that he's making the observation of the commentary on Hollywood here. They're for PC reasons they'll cast somebody probably not similar to the role. Like you're gonna cast he's saying we're probably gonna cast somebody different than how Wolverine usually looks. Like we'll go kind of like out of left field for Wolverine. Which if it's a fair point, I don't share that view, but I doubt they would do that in the first place. Anyways, fair whatever. So, Donovan's leaning towards Tom Hardy, and I gotta be honest, here's the thing. I'm inclined to agree with Tiki, but by the same token, I don't know. I feel Jacob. In regards to who fought it better, I'm gonna go with Jacob. I think Jacob accounted for what Tiki was throwing at him in the first place. I feel Jacob he was defending Hardy's honor. I kind of have to go. I'm going to give it to Jacob.
Okay.
So Jacob's got 4. Tiki's got 3. All right. Next question. All right. This is a quick draw question. Whoever says it first, gets this one. Okay, so you guys got to listen really carefully. I'll give you 2 names here. Okay, you guys got to
okay.
Ready. We're on the end of Endgame. This is going to be a big relevant question that's on everybody's mind. Who should die in Endgame? Cap or Iron Man?
Cap.
Iron
Man? Cap? Iron Man. Are you sure about that, Jacob? Because this sounds like... I'm a little unsure. No, I'm kidding. I know.
Is that a quick direct question? Do I really even have a choice?
No, you don't. I'm just... No, that's what I'm just... Anyway.
Are you only picking Cap because I chose him earlier, Tiki?
No, just because Cap is the obvious person to die in Endgame. I mean, that's just all there is to it.
All right, okay. Just whenever you're ready.
All right. So yes, I mean, all roads point to Steve Rogers sacrificing himself for the greater good at the end of Endgame. I mean, that just seems to be where we're going. I don't necessarily think that Steve Rogers has the story legs that Tony Stark could potentially have post Endgame. I feel like Tony Stark could potentially be like a Bruce Wayne, Batman Beyond type figure where he's out of the suit but still contributing in minor ways, whereas Steve Rogers, I feel like the road is kind of finished with him.
As far as movie roles go, I honestly don't think Iron Man has anywhere to go. I honestly think his story has been told throughout all these movies. Iron Man's story will also be finished with Endgame. I mean, that much is confirmed. I think the way to send Iron Man out, like he's got a lot to lose. I mean, he's got Cap, he's got a lot to lose, and I think Iron Man's story would be a lot more compelling than Cap's would in that regard.
I feel like there's other directions that you can go with Iron Man in the MCU. Like, you still have Spider-Man out there. You still have his marriage with Pepper Potts. Again, potentially some stuff with Norman Osborn we could work in. We could bring back Sam Rockwell. We could do the Mandarin.
Well, it's already confirmed we won't be seeing Pepper anymore, so that point is entirely out of the way, so it wouldn't have any emotional investment. Besides, I think Tony's death would have to be far more impactful considering his events throughout the entire franchise so far. I think his death would have a far more greater impact.
I'm gonna have to. Let me see what we get in the comments before I make my choice here. See if anyone's gonna sway me here. Okay. I'm just making a curse with knowledge pun here. It's, from Infinity War. It's quite funny. But remember what Tony said. I would just cut the rope. That's a point. I was going to say. So Donovan's weighing. Looks like Donovan's making the point that initially he was thinking Tony personally. That was his personal choice. Would be Tony Stark. He's the one that started this. He needs to end it, and him and Thanos are linked together. The scene they had in Infinity War. And with Steve telling him that he wouldn't be the one to lay down the law. Basically, he's saying it would pay off the idea of the animosity between he and Steve Rogers in Avengers, the whole cut the wire thing. So he's still thinking Tony, and the points like that. That was making some points for Tony. There's a points that Tiki potentially could have made himself. I'm sorry, that was. Well, I guess that Jacob could have made himself. And what I'm here, based on the argument itself, I got to be honest. Not purely because of Donovan, but I feel that Tiki. I'm sorry. Let me. Okay. Here's the thing. I'm leaning towards giving the point to Tiki because he made the point that we have a lot more story legs with Tony Stark, and we got kind of some Spider-Man, some Spider-Man Pepper Potts. Again, Pepper Potts was ruled out by Jacobson, not Pepper Potts. It's a little bit Norton Osborn, the Mandarin subplot, which of course we did put into play with the one shot, and Justin Hammer always on the back burner. But beyond that, it's I think more so. I think I'm going with Tiki for the point that there is that Batman Beyond route that they could take with Tony Stark. I think Tiki made some excellent points, for Tony Stark living versus him dying. But I personally, I think they're both kind of goners. If I'm being frank, I think they're both goners. But I think Tiki. I'm going to go with Tiki on this one. That Tiki that Tony's going to survive. So thanks for the input, Donovan. But I feel made some excellent points. But I think I'm going to go with Tiki on this one.
All right.
All right. So that puts. Let's see. Where does that put? Okay. So 4-4. Wow. Okay. All right. First the 6, folks. Whoever gets the 6 first.
We're still balancing it out.
Yep. So far, nothing but balance. The Thanos method. All right. Okay. Here's a good one. Okay. Best MCU moment in the first 10 years. That's from Iron Man to Ant-Man and the Wasp. Between those films, between 2008 and I guess 2018. Best moment in the MCU.
Would the snap count as one moment?
Well, you might have to be a little specific what the snap went to, like him snapping the fingers or like specifically people being dusted. That's the question.
People being dusted.
Well, then I guess, yeah, you'd be able to use that. But yeah, you'd be able to use that, sure.
You know what? I'm going to go with that.
Okay.
The dusting.
Yeah. I think he's got the dusting.
The snapping.
The snapping.
Let's see here.
Shit,
Donovan's got a
bunch of moments from Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, Donovan's kind of beat you there. Yeah, Donovan's got a few.
Ah, shit.
I'm trying to. I'm trying to. There's 10 years of movies to sift through. That's 22 movies.
Yeah.
So there's quite definitely a lot to choose from. So
smorgasbord. Like throw a dart you can't miss, man. You are going up against the dusting, so that's pretty big.
Right.
Only as strong as how Tiki argues it, though, so you still might have a chance.
Honestly, I think I'm going to go a different route.
Okay.
One that I think I'm going to go with the ending of Guardians Volume 2.
Son of a bitch! Son of Motherfucker!
Okay, so Jacob, you gotta be very specific right now because Tiki's life is depending on this. Okay, so when you say the ending of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, I want you to say it. Just we'll either burn Tiki or maybe give him a sigh of relief here. Okay, what specifically do you dictate as the end of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2? I want to hear you say the words.
Basically from Yondu's funeral onward.
Okay.
I mean, or do you want me to like narrow it down specifically?
Can you narrow it down a little bit more? Well, you know what? He went with the dusting. So basically,
Yondu's funeral is fine considering I went with the whole scene too.
Okay, so Tiki gets so Jacob gets the funeral to the end, where Tiki gets the dusting. Just basically everybody disappearing. That's what Tiki gets. All right.
Okay. You know what? All right. I can do this. It's fine.
All right, we'll see what happens. Okay, very exciting. Oh, by the way,
a good turn.
Okay, so Donovan's suggestions, by the way, Donovan's suggestion was the Guardians holding hands against Ronan. Basically, the Black Tears score is what he points out, which it's a great score, and the whole he's bringing up probably one of the best scenes of Guardians where they're all together, where the Guardians of the Galaxy. That
was my other pick, to be honest.
He also points out Peter fighting his father, so there's a good one right there.
I mean, Guardians is full of good moments.
Yep.
Okay. So I'm not going to argue with you, Jacob. That is a fantastic moment. Here's the thing. It's the best. It might be the best ending in the MCU, but I feel like the dusting is like the ultimate culmination of everything. I feel like it's on another level. It's epic. It's a pop culture milestone. I feel like it might be this generation's Luke, I am your father. It's one of those things where people left the theater absolutely shell-shocked and stunned.
Wouldn't yours technically count as an ending too? I mean, I'm just saying. But the way that word is true, but people honestly kind of saw that coming. The thing with Yondu and the fact that it makes his funeral so effective is that I guess it kind of depends on the moment before, which is it dead, but the whole thing with the Cat Stevens song coming together about moving and like having to move forward and everything, it perfectly sets up the themes of the movie in its entirety and makes it a completely suitable and heart-wrenching ending at the same time.
Okay, I consider the end of the movie technically being the Captain America oh my god thing, so that's fine. I just really think, like I said, I feel like there's so much more stakes and drama and iconicness to the snap.
If you ask me, the snap works better as a setup to a sequel, which obviously it's leading into. But I think as far as a standalone ending, and as a moment in general, I think that the ending of Guardians 2 works better. Featuring all the scenes with Yondu, with Peter, Gamora, Nebula, and of course Rocket. But
yeah. Okay. Wow. Okay, so this is again, two excellent moments by all stretches of the imagination. Two excellent moments, certainly. Let's see. Tiki again, right? I think Tiki was really strong out of the gate. Saying it's the ultimate culmination, the milestone, and the fact that he right out the gate he kind of made the point that yes, Jacob is one of the best endings for sure. But this is it's an iconic moment, and as Donovan has gone on to say, very memeable. It's all over the place. Jacob did make a really interesting point, saying it's really sequel setup, and I wish Jacob elaborated a little bit. I feel Jacob made good points, but I feel a lot of it was a little too late. And again, he missed kind of the most egregious of all thing I think would have won it for him instantly if he started off with this. And I'm not just going to take it away because of this, but it's the fact that the Rocketeer, man, you had the Rocketeer you could have used. Like that's what you could have used to win the whole thing. But
I threw him in at the. I tried to get him in on the end. I tried to focus on the whole.
Jacob could have held the Rocketeers like as emotional ransom for me. Like Tiki, can you say no to the Rocketeers?
That's why I was being uber specific because I was wondering, oh, wait, is he going to say the Rocketeers?
I would have probably been like, no, I can't say no to that.
A crying raccoon is Tiki's kryptonite, along with carnivorous. Plants and crying raccoons, man. That's his weakness. All right.
I'm not exaggerating when I say that the Rocketeers was a big crux of my Avengers MVP argument.
Donovan says, "When you're a meme, you've made it big time." So okay. So anyway, so based on this, I'm going to give it to Tiki basically. Tiki was really strong out of the gate. He kind of held his follow through, and I feel Jacob again a little too late. But again, Jacob could have won it, and I feel he was on the path of winning it. But again, timed round and all. I think Jacob's kind of simply ran out of time.
All right.
Right now, let's see. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. Tiki's got 5. Tiki needs the Mind Stone right now. That's what he needs, right? If you're tracking kind of the pursuit of the point.
Wait, no, wasn't it 4 to 5? I thought this was.
I'm saying it was tied up, and now you've got the points, and now it's 5 to 4. You have the 5. He's got the 4.
I thought I got the 5 on the last one, but that's okay because
we tied it up last time. Remember, balanced.
Yeah, still balanced.
Okay. All right.
Well, now it's unbalanced, but the point is, this next one could be the last one, folks. If he gets this right, he takes it over. If Jake gets it right, it ties up, and then we have like kind of the big final stretch here. So basically, it's a pursuit of the Mind Stone right now. Jacob needs 2 seeds. Jacob needs, I guess, the Time Stone, and he needs the Mind Stone. He's time and mind. All right. Okay, I'm just want to make sure I get a really good one here. So make sure we get in there. All right. We have a few options here. Sifting. Okay. Okay, this is I guess this is a quick draw as well, guys. All right, so this is a quick draw. Which franchise should appear in the MCU first? Fantastic Four or the X-Men?
Fantastic Four. So by extension, Jacob has to get X-Men, right?
I'm sorry, you cut out. So you said the Fantastic Four, then, right?
Oh yeah, I said Fantastic Four. Yeah.
Okay.
But none of us heard you. That's why I hadn't said anything yet.
Darn it! Yeah, that's a problem. Jacob, did you want the Fantastic Four?
I'll go with X-Men.
Okay, you're sure you're comfortable with the X-Men?
I mean, Tiki. If Tiki technically did say it first, so I'll go with X-Men.
All right, you're sure though? Because again, we could just make it.
I mean, if a tree falls in the woods, right?
All right. Okay. All right. So, Tiki, whenever you're ready.
Well, shoot, hold on. Let me just make sure that there's no delay in the stopwatch really quick. Okay. The X-Men is just a little too much, too fast to introduce everything at once. I feel like the Fantastic Four is a way more clean way to sort of like introduce the idea that humans can have like these like genetically altered powers. And then by extension, kind of like slowly build into the X-Men. I feel like the X-Men is just way too much to cram in there.
Maybe if the X-Men film was introduced first, yeah, that would be a bit much. But several X-Men characters have been known to cross over into the Avengers, so that could definitely be an interesting way to bring the X-Men into the fold. I mean, maybe not necessarily like one of the more popular ones like Wolverine or anything, but because that might be a bit too much at once. But muted. That could also be an interesting way to alleviate the whole Inhumans drama.
I mean, if you're talking about like, let's say, for example, Storm crossing over with the Avengers, to me, that's not the X-Men. That's just a character. Like, there's a big difference there. Whereas Fantastic Four is a clean sweep. You don't need to introduce them in chunks. You can just introduce them all at once very easily.
Honestly, I think as a whole that I think the Avengers would actually that the X-Men would actually be a better fit to continue on. Sure, Fantastic Four but that'd be a bit different, but no, not necessarily different. But I think the X-Men would fit the themes better and overall be a better fit to the MCU than Fantastic Four.
All right, this is a tricky one because I feel feel Jacob fumbled on the 15-second rebuttal. I feel that kind of hurt him, but he was really, I think he was really championing the X-Men at the start of things, and I think Tiki just repeated his point. So this one's kind of a fissure in this regard here. Okay, I guess I'm going to rule here. Unless we get anything from the comments, it might change my mind.
I have a comment.
What?
I am totally fine with just doing the whole perfectly balanced thing and giving Jacob a point.
Really? You do that?
I do it just for the perfectly balanced angle, yes.
Well,
I mean, I don't know who you'd actually give the point to, but like I'm fine with like playing with the thematics of this.
Well, before I make a choice, Jacob, are you one to look a gift horse in the mouth, or what?
I'm not gonna say no.
Okay, well, I gotta be honest. Again, I'm kind of leaning towards. Part of me is leaning towards Jacob because he was really strong in the opening. You know what? I'm gonna just for the perfectly balanced of it all. It's a good, as Donovan points out, perfectly balanced. It's the good, healthy Thanos diet. So you know what? Let's part of Thanos-O's, Thanos cereal. All right. So you guys are tied. Next point wins.
All right.
It's a race to the Mind Stone, folks. Race to the Mind Stone point.
Have we ever gone neck and neck like this?
Maybe sometimes, but this one feels a little bit more important. So let's just say this the first time. Okay, look, if you want to be all factual, no, it's not the first time. But it's been a while though.
Definitely the first time we've gone to 6 points on a tie.
Oh, you're right. Yes, it is the first time we've gone to 6 points. Yes.
You can retcon it.
All right. So, folks, if we weren't going to 5 here, again, if we weren't going to 6, it might be a different ball game entirely. Anyway, so yeah, that's the benefit of Endgame, man. It's all about the 6. 6 Avengers, 6 stones. It's all about the 6. Which brings me to this question. I'm going to let you guys, because again, since the point was kind of allowed here, let me throw this your way, guys. Okay, so I'm going to give you one of two options in terms of the theme of the question here. Okay. Do you want an Avenger, like specifically Avengers-based question, or a Thanos-based question?
I feel like Avengers would be more appropriate because we don't know how much Thanos is going to be in Endgame.
All right.
Funny thing, I was gonna say Thanos to go with the whole balancing thing.
That's the thing. We have a balancing thing with Thanos.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Yeah, fuck it. Let's go with Thanos.
And Donovan's Thanos.
Technically, we've already had a couple of Avengers-themed questions. We haven't really focused on Thanos that much.
And Donovan also is ruling in Thanos. You know what? Thanos has been kind of sneaking up, and Thanos is going to be probably, again, the marketing's been kind of sneaky. Like, we know we're getting Thanos. That's what the post-credit at the end of Infinity War said. Thanos will return, so we got to talk about Thanos. He's been in the background the whole time.
All right.
So let's talk. Okay, so let's go with Thanos. Here's the Thanos question, guys. For all the marbles, like Thanos pursuing the mind.
All the marvels.
Yes, all the marvels. Yes. Best Thanos moment in Infinity War besides the snap. No snap.
It's got to be when Peter Quill loses his cool.
Okay, so you specifically mean when he the infamous meme of like Peter Quill, like everyone having all the hatred for Peter Quill.
Yeah, I don't give a shit. I'm going to defend the hell out of that moment.
I'm just being specific. I just want to make sure that's the one. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, for the sake of this, I'll go with the end. The end of the movie.
Okay, so be specific with this, Jake, because there's a few.
Not after the snap.
I know that, but I'm saying there's 2 moments after the snap with Thanos. That's what you got to be specific about. There's 2.
Okay, the one where he's retreating to the side. It's like the short, 15-second ending where he's going to his house.
Okay, so you mean the smiling upon a grateful universe thing?
Yes.
Okay, so I want to be very specific. Okay, so you got the okay, very ending. Okay.
I'll go with that.
And Donovan suggested the battle on Titan, so that's another good one.
I mean, my other thought was
technically the ending of the battle on Titan.
That's the thing you so basically, I think you kind of fulfilled half of Donovan's wish there. So
my other one was Gamora's death, but I'm going with this one.
Personally, if it were me, and it's not, but if it were me, I would have picked the other moment with Star-Lord where he says, "I like him." That's what I would have picked if it were me. Either that or the moment where Cap catches the gauntlet, but honestly, I probably would have gone with Quill because there's a little bit more on that one.
Like the dad approves of the girl of the.
I know, I
boyfriend.
love that. I love it so much, and it's also after that really big emotional, thing and like pull. Anyway, okay, it's Tiki whenever you're ready.
All right. So yeah, I feel like the culmination of the battle on Titan is just like the ultimate human moment for both Thanos and Star-Lord, because we see the despair on Thanos's face. We see the utter, just like he is just completely broken emotionally about Gamora, and he can't hide it even in the midst of this epic battle. And then we see just the utter human emotion of Star-Lord kind of be the thing that kind of loses the fight for the Avengers in the first place. It's devastating from both sides.
I go with my moment at the end. It's a short but subtle scene. It's a scene that takes place after Thanos. Thanos had actually, for the first time in the entirety of the MCU, succeeded in his goal. You can tell, what happens is that you can definitely see the emotion on his face. He's not necessarily always happy, but content. There's no dialogue in that scene whatsoever, but other than the only thing we see is Josh Brolin's acting through motion capture.
I mean, I gotta be honest with you, Jacob. I think yours is kind of a what the fuck pick, honestly. Like, there's so many more compelling moments from Thanos involving motion capture and dialogue and pathos that yours is just kind of like, yeah, he's staring at it at sunset. It's kind of a nothing moment.
Considering his character, I think it's an everything moment, considering it pays off what he wanted from the very beginning, looking out at a peaceful universe, having accomplished his goal. And the look on his face captures everything. It's not what the fuck. It actually pays off. It's actually a major payoff.
Okay, guys, really good last fight here. I gotta be honest, really good one. Okay, a lot to chew on here, and of course, Donovan, you really want the gauntlet here. If there's any time in this whole thing for you to pick the winner, now would be the time. But I'm not saying he hasn't been doing that the whole way, but I'm saying, of course, yeah, we want to get to the root of it too. So.
This has been a good match.
Yes, it has. Yes, it has. I'm gonna go some stuff here. I'm just sorry, it's an earlier comment I want to read, just to also kind of buy us a little bit of time for the image. But Donovan says, I wonder if towards Endgame, I wonder what Peter Quill's reaction would be on Earth again, seeing him on Earth, return to Earth again, assuming he gets brought back, since he hasn't been there since his mother's death, which is an excellent point. So, yes.
Well, we all know that Peter Quill's going to have to visit Epcot once he gets back, because that was his best childhood memory.
Yes, yeah.
We see the Guardians ride being built there.
I am so confused. How does Disney know about us?
Oh, God, it'd be hysterical. If you ever needed an endorsement for a ride, dude, you would do it there.
Wait, what did they do? What did they do to the California Tower of Terror?
Oh, God.
Be funny. All right, anyway,
they're going on the Florida Tower of Terror. They're like, oh man, this is great. I wonder if there's a California version of this. We should go right now.
All right, getting back to the ruling.
Hop on the Benatar. The Benatar's got like subsonic speed. We can get there in probably like 30 minutes or so. Then they get there. What the hell is this?
All right, so guys, you both have emotional moments for sure. Moments that kind of showcase Thanos' emotion. Of course, I think Jacob's arguing a little bit more of the technical with Josh Brolin's acting, motion capture, and again the payoff of smiling on a grateful universe. Unfortunately, I'm not sure Jacob if he communicated that quite enough. But that doesn't mean he's out of the race here. I'm just saying I feel he could have stressed that a little bit more. And in regards to Tiki's moments, again, Quill again, Quill and Thanos definitely having that bond there in that moment of kind of both mourning over Gamora and again kind of the kind of Thanos again trying to hide from kind of the loss in itself. He just couldn't control himself there. Guys, it's neck and neck, so I'm going to. Sorry, I'm on. Tiki, we've lost visual again.
Oh shoot.
All right. Anyway, so I'm gonna give the ruling here. The ruling I'm gonna toss to the Donovan. Donovan does have a call here. Donovan has called the victor, and I got to agree with him because again, it's really neck and neck, guys. I really can't make an official decision because you both make excellent points. But again, it's really close. I don't want to applaud you guys before I reveal who's got it here because you guys have been really neck and neck the whole time. I want to applaud you. I think you both should be very proud. You both have done the old Fahey proud this Disney debate here.
We could do the coin at the
Right, we need to wrap this up.
I know. I'm just trying to
message change sentence.
Okay. Anyway, so the victor is Tiki. Donovan says Tiki wins, and he's got the gauntlet, so he wins. Tiki is our victor.
All right, thank you, Donovan. I appreciate it.
I was suggesting the Infinity Coin.
All right. Yeah, Jacob, I've got to say, like Dragon said, this has definitely been one of the most even match debates we've had in quite some time. I thoroughly enjoyed myself. You kept me on my toes. We kind of swang from one side to another multiple times in this, and it was an honor to fight you, sir.
There are a lot of surprises, that's for sure.
Indeed. All right. Well, guys, after this, there's just nothing Marvel related to look forward to for a while. There's just nothing on the horizon. I keep making this joke about Endgame not existing, but it's just not. I am so excited for Endgame, folks. I'm pretty stoked. I'm especially stoked because I marketing on Endgame has done such a good job of just not revealing anything. Like, I feel like we've got a whole shit ton of movie in Endgame that we just know nothing about.
For once, these leakers the leakers have failed. Just avoid spoilers.
Yes. Dragon, any final words?
Just avoid the spoilers online.
Folks, we've had a good time here. Thanks to Don and Martin. Anybody who's going to check this out, and we're going to Endgame psyched as we can be. It's going to be a whole lot of fun, and I think at the end of Endgame, we're going to be smiling at a grateful fan base for people fans of the MCU. It's going to be harrowing. It's going to be a lot of fun. And again, if Cat bites the dust, I'm going to be sobbing uncontrollably. But again, it's going to be a worthy sob. Anyway, it's going to be a lot of fun.
What's in store for us next time, Dragon?
Well, I mean, we're on the horizon. We're going to have, we're obviously going to have a Spider. We're going to have another Marvel debate around come July, I'd imagine. But
I might.
Well, June is going to be a Looney Tunes debate with Sipka.
Well, I maybe not because again, we have might be the points. It might be Pixar, might be Looney Tunes, but maybe Looney Tunes might come a little early.
I was planning a Looney Tunes debate with Tiki with Ezra actually.
Oh well, we could probably do that.
I was just about to announce that. I'm actually planning a Looney Tunes debate.
Wouldn't it be? Why'd you turn it over to me then? I don't know this.
I mean, I was just wondering if this doesn't kind of lead in, if you had anything planned.
Well, I'm thinking like Pixar for June. Anyway, so sorry about the inside baseball, folks. But it looks like Looney Tunes will be the next debate, so that's going to be special.
That's why I didn't say. That's why.
All right.
Never mind. Sorry.
Anyway.
Okay.